can do anything you want. I ain't got no problem with it. I promise you that shit.
Listen to the words. Don't know why that's skipping. Interesting. Let's just go ahead and remove it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here live on a Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, Tuesday morning, I think, 11:20, here live on the channel. Todd Monken just got hired by the Baltimore Ravens. I know you guys are at work. Going to try to bust in, break in, and do some breaking news type of events when they happen on us, like this one happened today. Obviously, Georgia losing an offensive coordinator. And, guys, honestly, I think I know I was on this platform saying you kind of got out of the woods a couple weeks ago. I thought you did. I thought the Tampa job got interviewed for, didn't really think it was a good fit. He didn't think it was a good fit. And then, boom, all of a sudden Baltimore starts popping up. And, man, I got frisky real quick. Multiple interviews, okay, up there in Baltimore. Communications were active all the way up until this morning. And then, boom, it pops. Baltimore releases the edit. They have hired offensive coordinator Todd Monken. So let's talk immediately about the loss before we talk about what has been already announced as the new offensive coordinator hire in Mike Bobo. Before we get those reactions and everyone starts freaking out about that and I calm you down, let's talk about the loss of Todd Monken first. In 2019, I was looking it up today, James Coley's last year, you averaged 30.8 points per game. So just under 31 points per game. The next year during the COVID season in 2020, Todd Monken gets hired in early February. COVID hits right there in 1st of March. Kind of have a month, like 6 weeks to install, what you don't really have because you're out of spring practice. So there was like zero install period during the spring of his first year in Athens. So there was no getting used to Todd Monken's offense in 2020. So they roll out there against Arkansas, with Dwan Mathis as their starting quarterback. They don't really know who they are as an offense. They don't really know who they are as a football team. They don't have 100% of the offense even installed. I would say that first year, it was really only about 40% of the offense installed, maybe tops, right? So they're doing all these things to kind of survive. They averaged 32.3 points per game in 2020. I vividly remember Kirby coming to the mic several times that season talking about, man, quarterback play's got to be better. We got to hit our layups. We got to do this, and that. And I remember going to social media all the time and saying, guys, man, like, dudes are running wide open. Guys are, like, running down the field, down the middle of the field. Y'all just don't have a quarterback right now to put it in their hands. In 2021, Stetson kind of developed into that, right? A guy that could manage the offense, a guy that could develop the offense, a guy that can control the offense and keep you in the right position at the right time and hit the layups. They did exactly that in 2021. They go on to win a national title at 30.86 or 38.6 points per game. So you already in 2 years have an 8-point increase in points per game. You are scoring a touchdown more. And then there was more improvement in year 3 in 2022. Obviously, you know how good he is, right? You go from 2020 scoring 32 points a game. You score 38 points a game in 2021, and then you score over 40 points per game for the first time at the University of Georgia since, you guessed it, Mike Bobo was your offensive coordinator. So you guys already know this. I think it's very, very important we give flowers around here, and y'all know how good Todd Monken is, so give him his flowers. Be very, very appreciative that this is the guy that brought you into modern offense in the sense of efficiency, explosivity, points per game. Okay, y'all did it a whole different way than the rest of college football did. Y'all did it in a multiple way. Y'all did it in a run-based way. Y'all did it in an under-center way. Y'all did it in a 12 personnel packaged way. Y'all played offense at the University of Georgia last year in a different way than the rest of college football, but you played points per game-wise, efficiency, explosivity-wise, the way college football does. And to me, that is the recipe for Georgia football moving forward because of who your head coach is. Your head coach is not going to be one of these people that's ever run an air raid pace and space. That's not him. He will never, he will throw up in his mouth and swallow it before he allows an offense to go out there, go 3 and out in 20 seconds. He's not going to watch it happen. He's damn sure not going to watch it happen for multiple possessions. So with that being in mind, knowing that that's who your football coach is, you have to understand that the next offensive coordinator has to go with the recipe that is successful. So, Mike Bobo, whatever you guys want me to study on Mike, I'm telling you right now, we're going to go do it. We will do it because you want me to do it, and that's my job, the film guy. But I'm telling you right now, What Mike Bobo has done in years past is it's non-descriptive. It's a non-factor for what is about to happen to him moving forward. Moving forward, what you do is what Georgia does as an offensive coordinator. What you do is what Georgia was successful with, which is still maintaining, a balanced offense, maintaining a multiple offense. We have to be able to spread out and throw because that's modern college football. But by God, we got to be able to play tight and under the center and in the eye if we have to as well, right? We have to be a play action based offense. We have to manipulate the launch point. We have to do all of these things because that is what is successful for our brand of football. So are you going to see whatever the hell you saw at Auburn for 2 years with Mike Bobo's offensive coordinator? No. Are you going to see whatever the hell you saw at South Carolina when Luke Doty was the quarterback? No. You're not going to see anything like Mike Bobo has been the last, 6-7 years as an offensive coordinator. I would imagine you're going to have to result back to an 11 personnel football team anyways. I talked about this during the Super Bowl the other day. With the departure of Darnell Washington, okay, and only having one true tight end, two true tight ends in Brock Bowers and Oscar Delp and some young guys, you're going back to an 11 personnel football team, guys. You're going back to a spread football team. You're going back to a no longer having tight end attached. That's what you're going back to. Okay, so that's all great. That's fine. You were going to have to morph into that anyways. Your offensive identity was going to completely change from 2022 to 2023 anyways, no matter if Monken was still the offensive coordinator. So this fear of change, this fear of the offense looking different, I'm here to tell you it would have looked different no matter what. You would have not been a 12 personnel football team this year, even if Monken were there. Okay, and with your difference in quarterback, you're going to change up some things there as well anyway. So if there were ever going to be a change, I think this was the off season rather that it needed to happen. Because here's what I'm telling you, based off what we learned from this process, right? That dude wants to be in the NFL so damn bad, Todd Monken does, that he's willing to. I mean, they don't even have the quarterback position sewed up. They don't know that Lamar Jackson is representing himself. He has no idea what their contract value is going to be. They're still in the midst of what seems to be a very, very awkward, at the very least, conversation about compensation with their quarterback. So that could be Brett Hundley real quick out there at Baltimore. So he went from the job in college football to a top 12, we're going to call it top 12 job in the league right now. When you include the quarterback position, whether or not it's Lamar or not, it's a great organization. So we're going to put it right there in that top 12. It's an upper echelon NFL job. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But it's very clear to me that with how willing and how adamant he was about interviewing this offseason and how much he drug this out, that dude wanted to be in the NFL so damn bad. So wouldn't it be better to happen this year than next? Wouldn't it be better to kind of have an offensive coordinator that is not toe in, toe out? And I'm not saying that's what he was all year last year, but it's clear as day to me, as soon as the season ended, as soon as a national title was won, any of y'all gonna hire me? That kind of thing. That kind of thing happened, and that's fine. Look, I spoke to somebody that was very, very close to Todd Monken, I would say about a month ago when all this stuff started happening. And the number one thing I got back was, dude, he's got one coaching dream left. He's got one coaching dream. It's to be a head coach in the NFL. And nobody is going to allow him to go from offensive coordinator in college football to head coach in the NFL. That's not how it's going to be. He is going to have to go to the Baltimore Ravens, revamp that offense entirely, okay, and then be the hottest offensive coordinator in the NFL. And then he will get his opportunity, maybe, to be a head coach. Or Lamar Jackson signs in Atlanta and it all crumbles down. But that is the reality of coaching. That's the reality of that profession, the one that those guys chose. Right? You hitch your wagon to the people around you. There is not stuff like this in the coaching world where, hey, we want to work right now. So we're going to turn the mic on and work. Whatever we go home with at the end of the day, however many people we drive to the Twitter, however many people we drive to the analytics, however many people we drive to Dogs Daily, that's on me, right? That we control that. It's 100% control. In coaching world, ain't none of that. All you can control is what you do and then hope the rest of the machine doesn't just fall to hell apart. So from a career perspective, he's not getting a pay raise. He's going to go from making $2.75 million to making 2.9, which after taxes, guys, I'm here to tell you, it's a hill of beans, literally. It means nothing to somebody who's making 2.75 to make 2.9. I mean, it's a minuscule difference in tax bracket. It's gone. It ceased to exist. So it's not like this is about money. This had nothing to do with anything with Georgia. This has everything to do with, that's an NFL guy. He's always been an NFL guy. I mean, for years on this program, we've been telling you it ain't like he's out grinding the trail. He doesn't have to. His job was to sign quarterbacks. That's what it was. Recruit and sign quarterbacks. And his kind of touch and go-ness right now, or over the last couple of weeks, that was, I mean, people were talking, guys. You know, the Lincoln Rileys, I'm just saying names here that recruit high-level quarterbacks that you're recruiting now, by the way. The Lincoln Rileys of the worlds, the Ryan Days of the worlds, the Nick Sabans of the worlds, now that he's got an offensive coordinator solidified. These guys were talking, hey, if he don't leave now, he might leave next year. You know, if he don't leave next year, he's definitely gone by the time you leave. Look at this guy. He can't even, you know what I'm saying? Like that recruiting narrative was happening. Now it's nicked right in the bud. And immediately you hire an offensive coordinator right off rip that everybody, for the most part, seems to be comfortable with. Every player that I talk to that plays the quarterback position has had conversations with Monken and Bobo. Just like before Bobo, it was Monken and Buster Faulkner, which, by the way, I think it's kind of obvious why Buster took the OC job at Georgia Tech. I'm not speaking for Buster. I don't know anything on this. I'm just speaking off rip. I think it's pretty obvious that you had an offensive analyst that everybody thought was OC in waiting that was very clearly not OC in waiting. They let that tweet from the Baltimore Ravens sit for like, I don't know, 10 minutes before they started sending texts to guys like me saying, Bobo, Bobo, Bobo. They knew. They knew a long time ago when they brought Buddy on staff and, you know, did it. And when they brought Buddy on staff, you should have known, like, all right, offensive analyst, offensive coordinator in waiting, just like Muschamp. Defensive analyst, defensive coordinator in waiting. There is something to be said about working with people you're closest with and people you trust, and that is very clearly what this system and staff now is, right? Mixed in with some studs, all right? Mixed in with some absolute dudes, right? Todd Hartley is not a Kirby Smart guy. They crossed over, you know, like 1 year, I think, as a GA ship in like early 2000s. That is not a quote-unquote Kirby Smart guy, okay? But Stacey Searles definitely is a Georgia guy, Kirby Smart guy. Mike Bobo, definitely a Kirby Smart Georgia guy. Will Muschamp, definitely a Kirby Smart Georgia guy. Glenn Schumann would probably take a bullet for Kirby Smart, despite the fact that he's a Bama guy. So there you go. You got 4 guys that are just like ride or dies, dudes that are on that staff because A, they're a great football coach, but B, because they have had some type of crossing with Kirby Smart, and he's checked that box as a guy that's one I want to work with. So you got a bunch of those guys, and then you got a bunch of really sprinkled in superstars, right? And McClendon's a Kirby Georgia guy too, so that counts as 5. You got the Uzo Deribes, you got the Fran Browns, right? You got all these coaches that are just kind of sprinkled in that are superstars, that are come-ups, right? And then you got the consistency of guys that he's comfortable with. So, you know, I think at this point, benefit of the doubt is beyond extended to Kirby Smart with his hiring processes. Yet still, by the way, we will have people in the Minchies just absolutely complaining, and I get it. I get it. I understand that maybe you thought he ran draw too much on 3rd and long. And that's about the only consistent complaint I hear about Bobo. Oh, and he was bad at South Carolina and bad at Auburn. And I'm here to tell you who the hell wouldn't be. Hugh Freeze is going to be scoring 28 points this year at Auburn. And people tell me that guy's an offensive guru. So there you go. And this is the key right here, right? The players love him, man. Listen to the way players talk about him. Listen to the way recruits talk about him. Listen to the way the fellow coaches talk about him. All that good stuff. That's what matters. That's what matters. And the other thing to me that matters is Bobo ain't going nowhere, guys. That dude's reached the pinnacle of his coaching career. He tried the head coaching thing. He did it. Colorado State, whatever. He's a lifetime OC. He will be an OC the rest of his life and then the rest of his coaching life. And that is fine because he's a damn good one. He's great play design. He's great play caller. All that good stuff. He ain't leaving. Y'all got consistency. That's what you got. You got an OC that is there until you don't want him to be there anymore. That's valuable. It's extremely valuable on a recruiting trail that no one else can sell that. No one. Ohio State can't sell that. They've had their last 3 coordinators get picked off by other staffs eventually. Now their OC is Brian Hartline, okay, who people have been telling me forever is getting picked off that staff eventually. Clemson just fired their OC for the first time in 8 years. Okay, so like this idea of consistency, not really normal in college football. Yeah, I just got a text. This has 0 impact on recruiting. 0. So there you go. It's not a crack on Monken to say that dude wasn't out here grinding the trail. It's just the God's honest truth. They didn't ask him to do that. It's not like when James Coley was an OC, he had to lock down South Florida. Not just South Florida quarterbacks. He had to lock down South Florida. You're our guy. Go down there, bring out good football players, offense and defense. Monken wasn't that. Monken was take the PJ to Mass, watch Pug throw for a little while, come back home. Maybe we send you to Arizona. Maybe we send you to Cali. Maybe. That's it. Otherwise, you could sit on the Zoom and just put folks through chalkboard sessions. It wasn't a grind. You lose very little on the recruiting end, other than maybe possibly there being a football guru or football nut like me that only wants to get recruited by someone who can teach them massive amounts of football. By the way, most high school football players will be blown away by Mike Bobo's knowledge of football too. Okay, so if that's what's needed, that's what they will get. I think I gave you enough. 17 minutes, hot, fired, ready to go. We're going to give you some type of show tonight around 8 o'clock. My voice, it's Max Out Week here at the program we're kind of affiliated with. So your boy has been screaming at the top of his lungs for 2 straight days. Tomorrow will be a third. And boy, I couldn't be more excited. Appreciate you guys for being here. Love you. Hit that thumbs up button on the way out. We'll see you later.